Ladies and gentlemen, because of all of the chaos, the mayhem that continues to unfold in Minnesota, specifically Minneapolis, in just the last several days alone, the Trump administration has ripped away over $350 million in federal funding from the state. They've surged over 2,000 federal law enforcement officers, DHS, ICBP, and now they are set to surge yet another 1,000 federal law enforcement officers to help put an end to all of this mayhem. And thank God for that, because in case you missed it, late last night in Minneapolis, things got absolutely chaotic. I'm sure some of you have seen the clips already. We're talking about riots. We're talking about police officers getting assaulted, punched, battered, spit on, and hundreds of far-left radicals literally storming not one, not two, but three individual different hotels, attempting to kill all of the ICE agents that were inside. I kid you not. We're going to do a total comprehensive breakdown of everything that went on in Minneapolis last night. We're going to take a look at that, but also we've just gotten some absolutely shocking, brand new information pertaining to Mrs. Renee Good, the woman who attempted to drive her Honda Pilot over the ICE officer 3 days ago. Some interesting information has come out from her background, her history, and what appears to be a direct link between, I kid you not, her and domestic terrorism. And I'm talking more than just this ICE Watch group. Everybody knows that she was a part of an ICE Watch group. We've talked about that. I'm sure we will talk about that even more, but I kid you not, domestic terrorism as well. We also just got, about 90 minutes ago, further confirmation, a concrete, solid confirmation that the Democrats, the congressional Democrats, are planning on attempting to shut down the federal government again, yet again, in an attempt to undermine President Trump's ongoing deportation efforts. We have now heard from our third far-left congressional representative, a Democrat, that they are planning on doing this. We're going to take a look at that. We're going to break down that entire dynamic. So, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor, take a seat, buckle up, make sure to like today's broadcast. Get out your phone, hit that like button on the computer, on the TV, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe and follow on YouTube as well as on Rumble. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. Of course, I am your host, Matt Morse. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and kick off today's broadcast by talking about what happened last night in Minneapolis. First off, let's hear from CNN.
So, Laura, right now we are in downtown Minneapolis. We've been following this protest outside of a hotel where these protesters believe federal agents may be staying. And just in the last few seconds, it appears they're trying to get actually inside this hotel. You can see this ramp that they were all around me a few seconds ago. And
now, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, these ICE or these anti-ICE rioters, they're not the most competent individuals. They're not the smartest people out here. These rioters, these far-left agitators, they didn't actually know for a fact which hotel the ICE agents were inside of. They didn't know. They were guessing. So they went from, last night, they went from hotel to hotel to hotel. They would bash the doors open into this hotel. Wait a minute, we got the wrong hotel. They'd go over here a couple blocks down there. They're at another hotel. Are there any ICE agents in here? No? Darn it. Wrong hotel yet again. They went to a third hotel. They battered their way into 3 different hotels. Looking for ICE agents, they had no idea these people are morons.
Now they're up this ramp. I can see a door open to this particular hotel, and you can see and hear how much noise they're actually making right now. Earlier, they were shining lights on some of the windows, truly making as much noise as humanly possible to this point, banging on drums, blowing their whistles, out with their signs as well.
Aquí estamos, no nos vamos. I don't even know what that means.
This is at least the second hotel they have been to in the downtown Minneapolis area, appearing to be under the belief that agents are staying at the hotels at which they arrive.
Notice he keeps saying they believe the agents are at the hotels. They think the agents are at the hotel. They had no idea. They were just indiscriminately running around town, running around downtown Minneapolis last night, breaking into hotels. We have another point of view here. The Minneapolis police just got chased out of town and attacked by the rioters. The police were down there, and then the police had to run away because the rioters were getting too aggressive. They literally handed over the city to them. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. What is that flag? For those of you that are unaware, ladies and gentlemen, this is the flag of the American Communist Party. I kid you not. Feel free to Google that. We've got the ACP, the American Communist Party, down here. Of course, obligatorily. Of course, you just know it. So they are chasing these police officers out of town. Look at that. The police are getting out of the way. They're getting chased out. Wow. They're just getting pushed out of the town. This is an anarchy zone. Hate to break it to you. So, like, literally, the police are literally getting chased out of town by these crowds. Look at that. Wow. I'll tell you something here, man. I would never turn my back. Listen, never turn your back to a violent mob, a crowd like this. You're going to turn your back to these guys. These guys are violent. These protesters, these rioters. You're going to put your back to them. And like, these are highly trained police officers. I would assume you got to go to the academy. You got to get your training, you know, your protocol. You're turning your back to a violent mob. That doesn't seem wise. They're throwing stuff at them. And you know what's crazy? Listen, these are Minneapolis City Police. I think it's safe to assume many of these police officers in Minneapolis are similarly left-wing, radically progressive themselves. Wouldn't you think so? The police officers, they are not ICE. They're not President Trump's federal law enforcement. No, these are local city police officers. I would assume many of them, by nature of living in Minneapolis, are similarly far left themselves. Does the mob care? Does the violent, unruly, far-left, radically progressive mob, do they care? Nope. Doesn't matter. To them, it doesn't matter. We have more footage here. Take a look at this. Thousands of leftist degenerates are making endless eardrum-shattering noise. Just to put all of this into scope, thousands of them. And they are outside of the Canopy Hilton here, where they believed, we don't know for sure, they at least believed the ICE agents were inside of this hotel. Thousands of these rioters. They brought down the electric guitar, why not? They've got the drum circle. They've got the American Communist Party flag. They've got the Palestine flag. They've got an Australian Aboriginal didgeridoo, a didgeridoo. Why not? So, last night, very clearly, this got absolutely insane. The Minneapolis police surrendered. We saw this from a different angle, though. Once again, the police got chased out of town, totally surrounded by rioters. There's the American Communist Party flag. And then this is that footage I think we saw earlier. They literally got chased out of town. We got to get the car out of here, get the vehicle out of here. They are literally running. They are running. That is just astounding. That is astounding. Embarrassing. This one is disgusting. This is an anti-ICE protester who spit in the face of not a police officer, not a Minneapolis police, not an ICE officer. This is what you're looking at, this guy right here. He is a security guard. He's a Hilton Hotel security guard. He's not a law enforcement officer. He's not working for the federal. He's paid by Hilton Hotel to hold the door. Look what they do to this guy. Oh, gross. Ew. Ugh. Absolutely disgusting. I don't even want to replay that because it was just so gross. Ew, gross. And it looks like this looks like a trans person. Ever get spit on in the face by a trans person? Dude, you need to go listen, brother, you got to get yourself checked. Ew, gross. And then they ultimately, numerous times, ended up actually breaching the door to one of these hotels, breaking into the hotel. We're going to take a look at that now. Is spitting on somebody a soul? I think so. They break into the hotel ultimately. And they're just literally fighting here. They're body blocking each other. Here are your peaceful protesters. It's a mostly peaceful protest, as they like to say. So this is one entry point to one of these hotels. We have another entry point at another hotel. They did the same thing. This one, they actually made it further in here. They're in the lobby. They are smashing the kiosk. They're banging on the windows. They made it in to some degree. This was last night, ladies and gentlemen. No justice, no peace. And then, by the way, just to put this into perspective, take a look. They actually do ultimately make it inside of one of the hotels. Take a look. You can see through the window. Everybody, look at this. They are actually inside of the hotel lobby, smashing, destroying. They made it inside. Spray painted the windows, F-Ice, F-Ice. And this one is inside, running around, stealing things, smashing the kiosk. You see somebody throwing something over there on the right. Wow. This guy here is wearing, some young individual has a Palestine sweatshirt. Trump end the war on immigrants is that sign. All the windows are spray painted. This is total chaos, right? There's more spray paint coming out there. The entire lobby is trashed. Just absolutely disrespectful. Now, finally, after hours of this just mayhem unfolding in downtown Minneapolis last night, the Minnesota City Police, these actually look like state troopers. Oh, these seem to be state troopers, not Minneapolis City Police. They brought in the state troopers in riot gear to help try to put an end to this late last night.
You're Minnesotans. You shouldn't be left to be lumped in. These motherfuckers.
This is America, right here, ladies and gentlemen. Burn this into your brain. This is America. Renee Good, this is what you died for the other day. 2 days ago, this is what you died for. You died protecting a bunch of unruly third world immigrants that could not give less of a damn about your death. They're just going to keep on going, defrauding the American taxpayer. This is what she died for. This is what they want. This is the country that they want. Look at that. Look at how smug they are. Look at that.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And look at this. Look at this dumb idiot. Look at this dumb idiot. Bro, look to your left, sir. Look to your left. Do you not realize what side of history you are on here? Do you not realize what side of the line you are fighting on behalf of here? Look to your left. Take a look. Look at your comrades over here. Here they are. Here are your comrades. Here they are. The smug Somalians. And then, of course, we've seen this. Take a look at this. The official White House Twitter page released this footage earlier today, just to put everything into context. We saw yesterday violent crowds in Minneapolis, similarly, were screaming, Kristi Noem will hang. Kristi Noem. So listen to that. Thousands of people, far-left radicals on the streets of Minneapolis, this is 2 nights ago, were calling for the death, for the lynching of DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. And more.
Here, when they hear the mayor of their city,
can you pull behind them? It's ICE. They're trying to kidnap people. Please pull behind them.
Shame on you!
The president stands with ICE. I stand with ICE. We stand with all of our law enforcement officers.
What is astounding is that you still have Democrat voters. Listen, if you are a Democrat voter, you are out here saying, yep, I support this. Yep, that unruly, violent, far-left domestic terror crowd in Minneapolis calling for the public lynching of Kristi Noem, DHS Secretary. Yep, I support that. I'm a Democrat voter. Yep, this is what I voted for. This is what I want. Yep, this is what I want. I want people jumping on cars, trying to sabotage and undermine federal law enforcement operations. Yep, this is what I voted for. Spitting and screaming and punching federal law enforcement officers. Yep, I'm a Democrat. This is what I voted for. This woman was yelling that she is going to kill them. That, in fact, this woman, I remember this video from a day and a half ago. She was out here screaming at federal law enforcement officers saying that the next time the Democrats get in power of this country, get in control of this country, they're going to sift through all of the federal databases, systematically identify every single ICE agent and also every single person that applied to be an ICE agent, and then hold them accountable. What do you think that means, holding them accountable? They're calling these ICE agents the Gestapo, Nazis, death squads. What do you think the Democrats are going to do next time they're in control of the country and they have access to the ICE employment logs? They know who all the ICE officers are, but then they also know every single American that applied to be an ICE officer, because we heard from the DHS about a month ago. The DHS said we've had 134,000 brave Americans apply to join the ranks of ICE. What do you think these far-left freaks are going to do to the 134,000 Americans that applied to become an ICE agent? What do you think they're going to do? Get creative. In fact, you don't even have to be particularly creative. We need to understand where we are as a country right now. We got to understand. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Renee Good. Similarly, a far-left radically progressive terrorist who tried to run over an ICE agent with her car 2.5 days ago. Now, of course, it's old news. We already know that she was a member of this ICE Watch group. Her and her lesbian wife, they were both a part of this ICE Watch group. Now, I found something very curious here. In the ICE Watch group that she was a part of, they have a training manual, required reading, if you will. In a training manual for the group that Renee Good was reportedly involved with, it says that the lowest level of risk out of all the tactics they employ is to totally surround the officers and block them with their vehicles. This is a screenshot from that training manual. Take a look at this. Tactic number 4, pressuring police to release the arrestees. Last but not least, this tactic can often be done with the lowest level of risk out of all the tactics. Totally surrounding the officers, blocking them and or their vehicles, and chanting, "Let them go." And of course, this is exactly what we are seeing across the country. We have seen at this point, just in the last 7 days, We have seen dozens of videos of far left radical progressives that are blocking federal law enforcement vehicles. They're blocking them with their vehicles or standing in front of them. This is exactly what they're doing. They're practicing what they're preaching here. But as far as Renee Good goes, things just got a little bit more curious because, like I said, it actually seems like she has some direct links to some type of far left domestic terrorism group. And I want to show you this. This is Andy No. He's an Antifa specialist. I think a lot of you know him. He actually personally found the Venmo account. It's an online payment account of the woman shot dead, Renee Good. And he actually has the logs, the pay logs. This is what she was spending money on. So electric bill, rent, help. I believe, according to Andy No, Donna Ganger here was her mother who was paying the bills and the rent for her daughter, Renee Good. So Renee Good, 37-year-old woman, her mother was paying her bills, electricity bill, rent, and food, I guess. But that's not what's curious. Her Venmo profile picture had a Black Lives Matter logo. You can see there. Great. Excellent. Excellent. But that's not really what I want to show you. What I want to show you here is this. October 6th of 2020, Renee Good paid some amount of money, we don't know how much, to an individual named Nick DeLorenzo. We don't know who that is. I tried to find out. I couldn't find who that guy is. Renee Good paid some amount of money to this individual for, quote, terrorism on October 6th of 2020. Now, I'm trying to remember back. Everybody check your memory. What was anything crazy going on in October 6th or the months leading into October 6th of 2020? What was going on in the country? Well, this was just a couple months after the absolute height of the George Floyd riots in Minneapolis. Just a couple months before this payment was made. So is it, now I'm just speculating here, to be honest with you, is it possible that Renee Good was paying somebody for some type of terrorist activity they were engaging in during the George Floyd Summer of Love? The Summer of Love, the peaceful, albeit a little bit fiery protests in Minneapolis, because the timing is about right. Just within a couple months here, could have been a payment for that. And now, well, I want to try to be as understanding as I possibly can. Okay, because right now, what I'm already seeing, now that this has come out, what I'm seeing from various members of the left is that she was joking. She was joking. She wasn't paying for actual terrorism. It's a joke with a friend of hers. It must have been. And you know what? Let's quickly talk through that. I'll be generous here. I'll be charitable. I am sure that all of us have made private jokes with our friends in what we thought was privacy in a private setting, that if the joke was broadcast publicly, it wouldn't land as well. It wouldn't be as funny publicly as it might be privately. I can understand that. I'm sure all of us have made edgy or controversial jokes with our friends or with our spouse or whatever. I'm sure, fine. But the problem that I have here is this. When you are joking about domestic terrorism, and then just a couple years later, you actually go out and engage in domestic terrorism, I think it is fair to double back and say, oh, wow, you know what? Maybe she wasn't joking. It's one thing to talk, maybe you're making a joke, but then you actually go out and engage in domestic terrorism. I think it is fair then to bring this into question. Maybe she was actually paying for some sort of terrorism. Who knows? So that's where my brain goes here. But this is incredibly curious. Incredibly curious. Everybody, I do want to say real quick, if you are new to the show, please do me a favor before you forget, because it really does help me out a lot. Hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. The way, especially on YouTube, the way the algorithm works, if YouTube sees more people liking, more people subscribing, then they continue to pump out the broadcast, and we can further broadcast the truth out to more and more people. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. We're going to move on here. Now, we have a little segment here last night that is going viral featuring Scott Jennings. Take a look at this. We are still peeling back the layers here.
Contrary to what I heard out here the other day, this person was not a random passerby who just happened to be driving through her neighborhood.
Nope.
This person is part of a group of people who form convoys to interfere with federal law enforcement operations. They drive convoys of cars into active law enforcement situations.
Yes.
They interfere with ongoing law enforcement activity. This is a felony to do that, A. B, this person had been following ICE around all day, apparently, according to witnesses, now according to further reporting. C, they didn't follow lawful commands to stop, get out of the car. D, they accelerated a car into the officer. It clearly hit the officer. I don't understand how you could watch this video and all the other videos that have come out and not come to the conclusion that this is an unfortunate, tragic situation that was caused by someone, the person driving the vehicle, using extraordinarily poor judgment from top to bottom. Doesn't make me happy. I don't like it. I hate this. I don't like it when U.S. citizens or anyone dies in any kind of a engagement with law enforcement like this. But this person exercised extremely poor judgment and put themselves in harm's way, probably committing a felony in the process, and this is the result.
Poor judgment, not just once, but time and time and time and time again. It seems like throughout her entire life, frankly, this is someone, I don't want to be rude. I don't want to go digging through this woman's personal life, through her past. I think it is relevant, but I don't know. Maybe I'm too nice of a guy. It kind of makes me uncomfortable. So let's just talk about what she did at the scene. Yeah, she was deliberately stalking and harassing ICE officers for hours on the day of. She was deliberately blocking traffic for at least 3.5 minutes. She had her car parked sideways, blocking the lane of traffic, preventing the ICE officers from leaving. Then they told her, get out of the car 3 times. She ignored all 3 of those lawful orders. She ignored them. Instead, she decided to blast her car right into an ICE officer attempting to kill him. Very clearly, that is what happened. But you know what? The Democrats, what seems to be the case to me here is that they are just totally comfortable lying. They are looking at the same footage that we are all looking at. They have seen the cell phone footage recorded by the ICE officer. They've seen all the different angles. The Democrats, we're all looking at the same thing, and they are just totally comfortable lying about it and lying to your face. Imagine you have a friend who walks up and pulls a dollar bill out of your pocket, and you watch him you're like, dude, what are you doing? You just took a dollar bill out of my pocket. What are you doing, dude? And then he goes, I didn't do that. No, I didn't. Nope, I didn't do that. While he's holding the dollar bill. Dude, I just saw you do it. You just did it 10 seconds ago. I just watched you do it. No, I didn't do it. It is that level of shameless, brazen, disrespectful lying. Just lying to your face shamelessly. That is what the far left is doing right now. In fact,
can't admit he was hit by the car, correct?
Well, we don't know. We don't know if the camera. No, we don't know if the camera hit the car.
He was hit by the car.
We don't know if the camera was hit by the car in his hand.
We don't know that.
He was hit by the car.
Okay, he was hit by the car. Okay, and he was hit by the car jumping out of the way. In other words, if he had not jumped out of the way, he would have been killed.
Yes.
I disagree. I disagree. I'm telling you this as a person that's trained for this. I'm telling you this as a former police academy instructor that trained recruits on how to evade a vehicle that's moving forward. We've done studies on this time and time again, and it's proved to be an overwhelming success if the officer steps away. And
he did do his best to step away. That is exactly what he did, and he still got hit in the pelvis by this vehicle, because guess what? A car, I don't know if this genius here understands this, a car is faster than a human. Did you know that? Fun fact of the day, cars move more quickly than humans. In fact, that's kind of the entire point of driving a car. It gets you around a little bit more quickly. Now, this ICE officer, he did do his best to get out of the way. There wasn't a whole lot of time to react. The car is faster than he is. He did attempt to move out. Still, he got hit, and as such, he fired defensively.
You mentioned he was hit by the vehicle. It is a problem that he was hit by the vehicle, but was he injured? Do you think there was a genuine injury?
He was turning away.
Yeah, I do think, if you get hit by a car in your pelvis, yes, I think there will be some type of injury. Could be a fracture, Could be even if it's just a bruise, even if he's just slightly bruised, the fact of the matter remains this woman drove a 4,000-pound SUV right at an officer attempting to kill him. Doesn't change anything. Even if he has only a little tiny scratch, it doesn't even change the equation here at all.
But he should he wait to get crushed to death and then fight back?
But even the video shows he was turning away from her. So he was raised by the car. She was not driving her car at him. I mean, we could just look at our eyes, the video, and see.
I can't admit he was hit by the car.
We can just look at our eyes on the video and see. And you know what? We actually can. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do a little bit of a recap here. Take a look at this. I love this video.
I saw this video. It didn't look like anybody got run over to me.
Get out of the car.
Based off what I'm seeing here, it really doesn't look like a nice officer was run over.
Get out of the car.
You can see the video and see the agent wasn't run over.
Get out of the car.
We all saw the video. She didn't run over the officer.
Get out of the car.
This was clearly not with any sort of intention to run somebody over.
Get out of the car.
And so once again, what is the far left doing right now? They are, with a straight face, they're saying, hello, American people. Do not believe your lying eyes. You know that video that very clearly shows this woman attempting to run over the ICE officer with her massive SUV? Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Do not believe your own eyes. Do not believe your own eyes. Do not believe your own ears. Listen to us, the Democrats. You can trust us. This is just absolutely insane. Drive, baby, drive, drive. But now, now we're talking about Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, because this video is just so undeniable. What happens in this video? The narrative is already changing. Take a look at this. What you are about to listen to. 49 seconds of the most shameless gaslighting you have ever heard in your entire life. Listen to this.
Don't take my word for it. Don't take their word for it. Watch the video from every single angle. I mean, the ICE agent walked away with a hip injury that he might as well have gotten from closing a refrigerator door with his hips. He was not injured. I've seen worse injuries from doing that. And so give me a break. No.
Because he was able to get up and walk away, he wasn't injured. He's seen worse injuries from people that bump their hip on the refrigerator door. I'm sorry, are you a doctor? Did you personally inspect this guy? There's no way he was injured.
No, he was not ran over. He walked out of there with a hop in his step. And so we just got to get to the point where we're at least operating from, hey, this is like, we're looking at it on the video screen. This is what we're seeing. Can we all see that it wasn't run over? And then, J.D. Vance, this concept of absolute immunity is pretty bizarre.
I'm sorry, this is a little personal anecdote here. Obviously, this is, like I said, the most just frustrating gaslighting ever. Personal little story. A couple years ago, maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago, my own grandfather, he's kind of a cowboy type of guy. He was in his 70s, and he got bucked off a horse while by himself in the middle of nowhere. He was out hunting with his dogs and his horse. He got bucked off the horse and ended up getting back on the horse, rode back to his car, a couple miles back to his car, drove back into town. For 3 months, he's got pain in his leg. My leg hurts a little bit. He fractured his leg and was able to get back on his horse, ride it back to the car, a couple miles back into town. And then he just kept on living his life with a fractured leg. Ultimately, my mom said, Dad, you gotta go to the doctor. You've been complaining about your leg for 3 months. You gotta go see a doctor. Oh, okay, I guess I will. He had a fracture in his leg. Does it mean that, does this mean that he was not injured? The fact that he was able to get back on his horse and walk back and live his life for another 3 months, does that mean that he wasn't injured? No, he was injured. He's just a tough guy. So this entire, set of logical reasoning, if you can even call it that, is just totally ridiculous. This is moronic. Why? He was able to get back up and walk around for a couple minutes. I saw it. So that means he wasn't injured. This is incompetent. By the way, this is footage I found for you guys. I wanted to share this with you guys. This is from an incident in New York City about 3 years ago where a police officer of the New York PD ends up getting hit by a car. Very similar dynamic. This guy was very seriously injured. The driver got 2 years in prison for this. So that is what happens here. If this ICE officer in the incident 2 days ago did not fire defensively, if the ICE officer had not fired defensively, this is what happens. The car wasn't really moving that fast. It was very short distance, about almost the exact same dynamic here, to be honest with you. Same distance, same speed, same angle. He kind of clipped him. This guy was seriously injured. So to act like, oh, it's not a big deal. She only bumped him with the car. It's not a big deal. Whatever. No, it is. This guy almost died. The ICE officer almost died 2 days ago. Thank God. More power to him. He was smart enough to fire defensively and try to put an end to this. These Democrats are just insane. But you know what? You've seen nothing yet. Ladies and gentlemen, take a listen to Democratic House Representative Pramila Jayapal. You got to hear this.
But the truth is that every single person in the United States of America, U.S. citizens, white, black, brown, whoever you are, you have to worry now that an ICE agent is going to come and shoot at you and kill you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the highest ranking Democrat politicians in the country. She is a congressional representative in the National Congress. And she got up here on, what is this, MS Now? This is MSNBC, MS Now, as it's now known. And she's saying that now at this point, listen up, Americans, at this point, all of you, white, black, brown, purple, whatever, every single second of every single day, you need to be scared that a federal ICE officer is going to come up and blow your brains out for no reason at all. You need to be scared. That's where we are at this point as a nation. As if there's no context, as if there's no other context to this shooting, this incident that took place. Completely leaving out the fact that this woman seems to be related or involved with a far-left domestic terror group, that she was a member of this ICE Watch group, that she was stalking ICE officers as a hobby. Maybe she should have gotten a job. Then her mom wouldn't have had to pay her bills and her food and her rent. But no, she instead chose to spend her time stalking and harassing federal law enforcement officers, in fact, ignoring lawful orders and then trying to run them down with a vehicle, ultimately resulting in the loss of her own life. Completely leaving out all of that context. No, you just need to be afraid. Be afraid of ICE officers, because now they're just going around indiscriminately killing people for no reason, totally unprovoked. You want to talk about turning down the temperature? You know what's insane? Right now, the Democrats, they are the ones right now saying, we need to turn down the temperature. Everybody turn down the temperature. And then they themselves come out and say stuff like this. Really, it is disgusting. But it's all just propaganda, which is what the Democrats do best. I found a perfect example of Democrat far-left propaganda for you. I want to show you something. Take a look at this.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one, Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down. They're up. Inflation is getting worse.
This goes on for another 60 seconds. You want to talk about far-left propaganda? They all get the same talking points, the same list of bullet points. I'm going to say this. They all get the exact same script. They're like a hive mind. They are a liberal hive mind. Shout out my good friend over at Liberal Hive Mind. So when we talk about propaganda coming from the far left, from the Democrats, this is exactly what we're talking about. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, chimed in earlier today, this morning, in fact. Take a listen to what she had to say.
Some of the Republican colleagues are basically saying that ICE is doing its job and that people are there to disrupt them and to stop them. What would you want to tell?
I would not say that assassinating a young mother of 3 in the street is part of ICE's mandate.
Assassinating. Look at the word she chose to use. AOC, what would you say to Americans that say that the ICE officers are just doing their job? Well, going around assassinating young mothers isn't part of their job. Assassinating?
ICE specifically has a mandate that has nothing to do with going after U.S. citizens. Watch the video for yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the politics with me or what I'm going to say or what anyone else is going to say. Watch that video for yourself, and you will see a woman trying to back up her vehicle and leave a volatile scene.
Why was she parked there for 3.5 minutes blocking the road? Why had she been harassing and stalking ICE officers for 4 hours prior to blocking the road? Why did she ignore 3 lawful orders from a federal officer to get out of the vehicle? Why did she drive her vehicle directly into an ICE officer when she knew he was right in front of the vehicle? You might notice they can't answer any of those questions. They've got no answers to any of those questions. All they can do is obfuscate and say, oh, you're talking over here. Well, look over here. I've got something over here. Try to shift the subject, change the topic, or just flat out lie, or just lie. Talking about exposing all of those lies.
Well, it turns out the Fox News and Common Sense Department was right. The Department of Homeland Security was right. And Minnesota politicians were wrong. Again, it's becoming a pattern. 24 hours ago, Minnesota authorities were telling us the woman who was shot and killed by federal law enforcement, 37-year-old Renee Good, was not an activist and was only near the ICE activity because she was dropping off her child. Now we know that Renee Good was part of ICE Watch, a group that monitors and interferes with ICE operations.
Imagine.
And before the shooting, she was monitoring and interfering with ICE operations. And video from the officer's perspective backs up pretty much every detail.
Yes, it
providing
does.
Key evidence that Good and her wife were impeding and taunting ICE. And when law enforcement told Good to get out of her car, Good decided instead to aggressively use her car. And in the process, she struck law enforcement, who then opened fire. The mayor of Minnesota, who initially claimed the officer was never hit, now says the officer...
I just need to pause here real quick. Right now, one of the senior ranking Democrat talking points at the moment is, well, if you play the first half of the video, you very clearly hear Renee Good say, she said, and I quote, "It's all good. I'm not mad at you." Do you remember early on in the video, right here in this video, in fact, she says, "It's all good. I'm not mad at you," to the ICE officer about 30 seconds before running him over with her vehicle. And so the Democrats, they're coming out and saying, well, listen, she said she's not mad. She said there's no problem. She's peaceful. It's all good. Yeah. I will tell you something. Can I make a request here, though? Listen, if you are a woman tuning into today's broadcast, just for like 15 seconds, go ahead and mute the show. Can you, all the women in the audience, mute the show here for 15 seconds? Thank you. Okay, listen, men. Come on in here, men. I'm talking to the men. If a woman passive-aggressively says to you, "It's all good. I'm not even mad," you know for an absolute fact she is pissed. That is code language. That is woman code language for she is absolutely livid. And I think every single man in the audience knows that. We all know. We all know what is going on here. No, it's okay, sweetheart. Everything is fine. I'm not even mad at you. We all know what that means, right? Right? Yeah, okay.
The officer was never hit, now says the officer was barely hit. So now self-defense depends on the severity of the strike? Common sense thinks when you change your story from the wheels were turned away from the officer to the officer only suffered a minor injury, it's time to tone down the rhetoric, own up to the mistake.
And maybe just get the hell out of the car. Maybe get out of the car. Now, I saw earlier today that, That's a lot of text. Good Lord. That Bill O'Reilly actually gave a tangent here this morning that is now going viral. We're going to take a look at this one here. Bill O'Reilly, let's everybody enter the no spin zone.
This is a story about bad decisions.
Yeah.
And in your life and everybody's life, if you make a number of bad decisions, you're going to pay the price. So let's walk through the bad decisions quickly. Number one.
Okay.
Minneapolis is perhaps the worst sanctuary place in the country.
Yep.
They don't cooperate on criminal aliens. It's been going on forever. They're run by a guy, Jacob Fry, who we saw today, who was disgraceful. F this. This is, immature. Actually lied in his initial comments that the woman was fleeing the scene. He didn't know that.
Yep.
Horrible.
Jacob Fry himself, he has shifted his own personal narrative like 6 different times. And we don't need to go through all of them, but, every 30 minutes now, it seems like we get more information that just makes this situation look worse and worse for the Democrats and Renee Good. And Jacob Fry is his last name. He's been caught. He's had to change his narrative time and time again because everything he says ends up being proven verifiably incorrect.
Horrible person. And so the bad decision was electing that man. If you have a leader of that low caliber, you're going to have problems. Wall's not much better. He did the same thing.
Yep.
And I will understand, I'm not going to convince anybody on the right or the left. They made their mind up in the first 10 minutes of hearing about the story. And they're not going to change their minds. But bad decision-making is what caused this woman's death. So you've got a sanctuary out-of-control city that defies the federal government, that is breaking the law constantly every day, that is not rounding up criminal aliens, that lighted the fuse. You've got leaders that justify that for virtue signaling.
Yep.
Then you have a poor woman, as misguided as she is, putting herself in unbelievable jeopardy by blocking a federal investigation. It's a crime. She committed a crime, obstruction. Okay? The ICE agents wanted her to get out of the car. She would not get out of the car, and then the car lurches forward. They're on it. The forensics are going to have to take it. I'm not taking it. I'm not going to offer an opinion on it. I will tell you the woman made a terrible decision.
Listen, you don't need to be a forensics expert. I'm sorry. You do not need to be a forensics expert to determine that this officer was hit by the car before he even pulled out his gun, let alone started firing shots. We all have eyes. We all have ears.
For being there. Should not have been there. That is not a legitimate protest by any means. And the dishonest far-left people are calling her, obviously, the dishonest far-left people are calling her a legal observer. It's a total lie. All right? She broke the law, shouldn't have been there.
None of that matters.
She's a legal observer. And we all saw about a day and a half ago, that was the term that they conjured up. All the Democrats collectively, and we saw all over Twitter, all the top Democrats, all of their talking heads. She was a legal observer. Hey, she was just an innocent legal observer. She was a legal observer, legal observer. What even the hell does that mean? Does that, so hold on, are legal observers allowed to drive ICE officers over with their cars? Is there some special rank or title in this country that allows random people to drive over ICE officers in their SUVs? I didn't know that legal observers were allowed to do that. Wow, you learn something new every day. Maybe it says that in the Constitution. Maybe George Washington put that in there. He said, it's Article 7, whatever. And legal observers are allowed to drive federal law enforcement officers over with their car. Oh, I missed that part. I forgot about where it says that in the Constitution. Oh, wait, it doesn't. Now, we got a big statement from Chief Border Patrol Agent Greg Bovino yesterday evening, late last night, giving his sort of on-the-ground assessment of everything here as it is unfolding. We're going to take a listen to what he had to say now.
I was out on the street today, Jesse, with the agents, and many similar situations occurred. Luckily, they didn't result in something like that, but absolutely, agents are in a very precarious situation.
Oh, yeah.
Every single day they're out there on the streets. These agitators are out of control, as you said during your monologue, out of control, and they will do almost anything, it seems, to try to stop our mission.
Seems
is the
like
mission
it.
being stopped because you guys are showing so much patience? You're showing so much restraint. We showed video just last night of a woman bum rushing you and hitting you. I mean, how do you do your job under these circumstances?
Jesse, the mission is not going to stop, and it hasn't stopped. We've got thousands of agents in the largest Department of Homeland Security mission ever conducted. Thousands of agents here in Minneapolis and across Minnesota conducting this mission. So it's not stopping, and that professionalism is on display every day. I'll tell you, I am absolutely amazed at the restraint and the professionalism that ICE, Border Patrol, and all those allied law enforcement agencies provide every single day, especially in the face of hundreds of violent agitators, violent mobs, rioters, you name it, those agents are subject to that every day. It's almost like a running battle for a 10 or 12-hour shift, a running battle.
Seems like
all
it.
shift long. And hats off to the ICE and Border Patrol agents.
I got to say, man, these ICE, DHS, CBP guys out here, literally on the front lines, squaring off toe-to-toe against violent illegal aliens and similarly violent far-left radicals. I don't care what anybody has to say. If you disagree, you are wrong. These guys are patriots. These guys are national patriots. They are on the front line, like I said, against some of the most violent, vile people we have in this country every single day, trying to put an end to this invasion. These guys out here, they are patriots.
A battle in the streets while you're conducting operations that the country voted for. It's a shame. It shouldn't have to be like that. You anticipate that people are going to start throwing themselves in front of cars. You anticipate there's going to be more blockades. They're going to get more aggressive. Do you guys have the strategy, the resources to be able to handle this?
We do. President Trump and Secretary Noem ensure that we do have those resources. We have exactly what we need to make Minneapolis, Minnesota, and all the cities across America safe for Mom and Pa America, Jesse. We're going to do that. And I'll tell you what, we're working for a dream team that gets us the resources that we need when we need them. So, it's a matter of us being aware every single minute of every single mission that we're on. Every single minute, our heads are on a pedestal, and we're very aware of what's going on. And we're arresting a lot of bad people and bad things here in Minneapolis. That's not going to stop.
We're going to keep it going. And folks, this is something we were talking about yesterday, where it seems to me like what the Trump administration is doing right now in Minneapolis, it's kind of a testing ground. They are experimenting. They're hammering down their order of operations. What is the best way to conduct these raids? It's sort of like a training ground for ICE, DHS, CBP. They're getting a hang of the entire dynamic here. And then coming out of Minneapolis, once they kind of solve and put an end to a lot of the chaos going on there, maybe they head over to Los Angeles. Maybe they go to Seattle. Maybe they go to Portland. And the great thing about these federal law enforcement surges here, like we're seeing in Minneapolis now, we had 2,000, we're getting another 3,000 federal LEOs on the streets here, is that some rogue, radically progressive judge in the federal judiciary, the Supreme Court, they can't do anything about this. Some judge can get involved, as we've seen time and time again. They can say, listen, no National Guard deployment, you can't do this, you can't do that. They can't do a damn thing about Trump's ICE officers, CBP agents, DHS. They can't do anything about it. So this is the angle. This is the approach we need to take to continue to be successful. And I think Trump knows that. Now, he was talking here about funding. Right now, the Democrats, let's go ahead and talk about their plan to shut down the government. Again, as you all know, the funding package that they passed through Congress in November that Trump signed off on actually only opened up the government and kept it open until the end of January, which is about 2.5 weeks from now. If there is not another budget passed through the House, the Senate, and then Trump signs off on it, the government is going to shut down again, I believe January 30th. What is that, 20 days from now? And so here's what the Democrats are planning. The Democrats are planning, well, we have an opportunity. We are unhappy with President Trump's ongoing ICE raids and the boots on the ground presence here. We are mad about that. The Democrats are upset. They're saying, here's what we're going to do. We are going to threaten President Trump and the Trump administration with yet another government shutdown unless he agrees to pull back on these federal immigration law enforcement operations. Now, worth noting, they can't do anything. The Democrats can't do a damn thing to pull the funding, the money away from ICE, DHS, CBP. They can't do anything about it. They can't touch it. ICE, DHS, CBP, they are funded thanks to the one big beautiful bill until September of 2029. What is that? 3.5 years from now. So the Democrats, they can't do anything to pull that funding away. It's already locked in thanks to the OBBB. So we love that bill. So what are they going to try to do instead? They're threatening now Trump. Really, this is like, the term I will use that comes to mind here is political terrorism. They are saying, Trump, pull back on these law enforcement operations. Otherwise, we are going to shut down the government again. And if you don't believe me, I've got a new video clip that came out today. We looked at 2 of these clips yesterday. We've got another one today that is very explicit. This is their plan. Take a listen here.
There is a hope, I guess. I talked to some members and some staffers over the last couple of days that there will be a robust conversation with leadership about withholding votes for funding at the end of this month. Unless there's some change in the either the amount of money that ICE gets or some of the policies that ICE operates. Are you in the leadership and supportive of that effort?
Listen, we are going to use every single tool we have to rein in DHS, to make sure that the chaos and the terror that they are bringing to communities around the country is ended.
So there you have it. He says in a roundabout way, listen, the funding comes to an end at the end of January. Are you going to do anything? Are you going to withhold votes in order to put an end to these ICE operations? And she says, this Democrat congressional representative, and she's the third one, in fact, on yesterday's broadcast in the evening show, we saw 2 more Democrat congressional representatives saying the exact same thing, mind you. So if they're all saying it, you know what their plan is. They're saying, yeah, actually, we are going to withhold votes. We are going to threaten to bring about yet another government shutdown unless President Trump stops and shuts down these ongoing law enforcement operations, these ICE raids and whatever else. So, folks, that is where we are right now. At this point, what I would like to do is go ahead and pull up some of these super chats. I want to see what you folks have to say about all of this. So give me one moment here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for tuning in so far. We're not done yet. Now it's time for super chats. Everybody, if you could do me a favor, hit the like button and make sure to subscribe. It really does help a lot. First off, we have a big Rumble rant over here on Rumble from Flex the Juvat. He said, Matt, tried to tweet and DM you the link you requested last night. Not sure if it got through. You know what? Yeah, let me do that real quick. I will pull that up. I said last night there was a GoFundMe or a fundraiser here that I said that I would plug last night, and I'm trying to find it. Do I have a link here? Yes, I do. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you feel inclined, there is a fundraiser for, I think, a very noble charitable cause. You can take a look at that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I plugged it out in the Rumble and the YouTube chat. Thank you very much. Thank you, Flex. I've got some more super chats over here on YouTube. I'm going to take a look at these ones here. Okay, so first off on YouTube, we have Sweet as Sugar says, let's get this super chat train started. Thank you. Happy Saturday morning. Thank you very much. Welcome to the show. All the new viewers, anybody else, welcome to the show. I'm going to have a sip of milk here. I think I end up drinking about a half a gallon of milk a day. I'm a big milk man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We have, this is Dorf at Arms. He says, choo choo, thank you very much. Sweet as Sugar says, happy birthday, Miss Mary. If your name is Mary and it's your birthday, happy birthday. Lower Class says, feminists don't even want to mention Iran right now. And that is incredibly mask off. You know, I will tell you, I was thinking about this last night. It is really unfortunate that all of this, this entire situation is unfolding in Iran right now. I would love to talk about it more, to be honest. I would dedicate a bunch of videos and broadcasts to it. But there is so much going on in America, here in our own country at the same time. It's hard to find the time to talk about it. I was thinking maybe tonight on tonight's broadcast, you know, we're doing 2 shows a day now. We might have a little segment talking about what's going on in Iran later this evening. It depends. Thank you, though, because it is super fascinating. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. This is Donker. He says, they say our streets and we are on stolen land. Make up your mind, crazies. Yeah, true. You can't have it both ways. Thank you very much. Summerman, he says, pray to God that through this storm, we will be okay. Have faith. I think we will be. I am. My optimism levels are pretty high right now. I think it's going to be okay. Thank you, Summerman. Duck Meese, he says, my old job I got in 15, management would take turns writing newsletters at a Minneapolis lesbian would talk about her non-binary transition every time. That's, sorry to hear that. That's crazy. That sounds terrible. Slipknot says, thanks so much for bringing the We the People to the True News. I hope Trump sends in the National Guard to protect our law-abiding ICE agents. Can I tell you something here, Slipknot? I know I said we might talk about Iran a little bit tonight. I was considering tonight doing a Riot Watch broadcast with you guys for an extended period of time, maybe 3, 4, 5 hours. This evening, it's a Saturday night. The weather, I checked the weather in Minneapolis. It's going to be cold, but there's going to be no rain or snow. I was thinking tonight in Minneapolis, they might be out in full force rioting. I'm still on the fence. I'm not sure. We might do a Riot Watch live broadcast tonight, seeing exactly what the hell is going on down there. I'm on the fence. Maybe I need to talk to my wife about it, but it's something I'm thinking about. Okay, so I'll keep you posted. Make sure to follow on the Twitter. On Twitter, on X, you're going to know all the updates. Make sure to follow, subscribe, everything. Thank you very much. I'm thinking about it. Craig Essick, he says, crazy, just plain crazy. These people are beyond crazy, Craig. Thank you. Munchies, he says, Trump, send in the troops, insurrection. You know the Trump administration, internally, they're talking about all of this. You know that they have a threshold. They've got a line, right? If the far left, if they cross whatever line that is, and you know they've decided, they've talked about it, the Trump administration, then they will do it. So presumably, that line has not been crossed yet. Who knows where they go? It could be tonight. I don't know. Time will tell. Thank you very much. Andrew Jackson. Hey, I feel like I've heard that name before. He says, it's funny that BLM changed their positions to ALM just to justify breaking stuff. Thanks, ICE. Can I tell you something funny about BLM? One of the big, massive requests from the BLM movement was body cams on every single police officer in the country. Well, following the BLM movement, we pretty much did that across the country. Pretty much all the officers now are wearing body cams. What did we find as a consequence of those body cams? We found that these officers, they have very difficult jobs, to say the least. They are dealing with violent, belligerent, aggressive people that are incapable of following basic orders, basic requests, like we saw, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car. When I heard that, ma'am, get out of the car, I felt like this is going to be super nerdy. I'm sorry. I felt like I was playing World of Warcraft and I was raid leading. Hey, guys, don't stand in the fire. Don't stand in the fire. All right. Do not stand in the fire. And then somebody stands in the fire and then they die. This is like a classic video game thing. And I heard that and I was like, yeah, I've been there. Ma'am, get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. And then she doesn't. And then she tries to kill an ICE officer. Good Lord. Good Lord. These people, they don't have brains. Some people just don't have brains. Okay, thank you. Sorry, sometimes I have to throw in a World of Warcraft analogy sometimes. This is Just Diana, $49.99 says, the police running was a bright, beautiful bat signal for guess what? The police running was a bright, beautiful bat signal for guess what? Yeah, maybe so. Diana, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Welcome to the show. Happy Saturday. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's just, We need a total crackdown. We need a total crackdown, Diana. Thank you. Silent Gamer says, I hope these people realize when socialism takes over, they definitely won't be able to do this anymore. I think these people, listen, these are dysfunctional, mentally ill people. It is perhaps a possibility that they would be better off. Maybe they want a dysfunctional, mentally ill society, which is exactly what they will get if they are successful. Maybe they don't want to live in a proper, healthy, cohesive, law-abiding society. That's what we want. That's not what they want. They are in mental turmoil. These people are nut jobs, and that is what they want in the world. That's what's going on in their brain. Maybe that's what they want outside of their brain as well. I don't know. They're crazy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Brandon Billmeyer says, Trump, let's send in the Marines. If things get crazy enough, that might be on the table. We know it might be. Thank you very much. Cynthia Douglas says, thanks for honest coverage, and I love your commentary. I really appreciate that. Right now, because everything is so crazy these days, we are doing 2 live broadcasts a day. Whenever things kind of settle out, things relax, I hope that happens, frankly. We'll go back to doing 1 evening show, but for now, we're doing these emergency morning broadcasts. I feel like we have to. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. This is Lee Blackburn. He says, be prepared to protect your family at all costs. Very true. Very true. Because you are the first responder for yourself, right? Brandon Lehman, shout out Brandon Lehman. He's a good YouTube channel. Go check out Brandon Lehman's channel. He chimes in this morning. He says, giving your life to defend Somali fraudsters is certainly a choice. That is exactly what has gone on. And what is most ironic here is that these Somalian fraudsters, they couldn't give less of a shit about you or me or her. And so, I mean, this is a mother of 3 children. She's lost custody of 2 of them, as it would turn out. And she is choosing to spend her free time while unemployed, by the way. We got her payment history, her Venmo history. Her mother is paying for all of her bills, her rent, her food, her cell phone. 37-year-old mother of 3. Her mother is paying her bills. And rather than getting a damn job, as a responsible adult would, she is instead stalking and harassing ICE officers, trying to run them down with her vehicle, and engaging in what seems to be various far-left domestic terror groups. Seems to be the case. Not the best critical thinking skills on this woman. Thank you, Mr. Lehman. Thank you very much. Shout out Brandon Lehman again. Go check him out. He's one of the top dogs in this space. That's my opinion. We have Gary's metal detecting. Hi there. He says, I'm a retired LEO. I'm old school. We don't run and hide. These cops are cowards. I mean, they must have gotten an order. They all did it at once. They must have had somebody in their ear saying, all right, time to retreat. I think the entire apparatus here, in that city at least, is just totally cooked. And thank you. I appreciate that. I just couldn't believe, like, even if you're that officer from a personal safety situation, you're an officer, I get it. Just like as a human, do not turn your back to the mob. Because who knows what the hell is going to happen. If there is a violent mob chasing you, staring you down, keep your eye on them, slowly back up, but turning your back to them seems like a big mistake. Big mistake. Thank you. Thank you, Gary. This is Chair Isle says, thank you, love watching. I'm very fortunate you're tuning in. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I can't believe how well things have been going lately. It's just nuts. I can't believe it. Gary again, he says, camera was in the hand is just illogical. He shot, and that takes both hands, especially with muscle memory. Well, I mean, if you look at the video, I do think the camera was in the hand, and then I'm thinking back to the video. The camera was in his hand, and then he pulled out his handgun with his right hand. And that is the hand, one-handed. That we can see on the video, one-handed, he takes that shot. We have an angle that says that. And so really, I mean, you have to look at that and say, nice shot. Nice shot. This guy was getting hit by a car. He had a camera in this hand. He pulls out the handgun with his right hand and then takes the shot, neutralizes the threat. This guy, hey, one hell of a shot. You got to give some credit. That's one hell of a shot. I don't know what to say. I couldn't have done that. Thank you very much. This is the beard. Yeah, by the way, self-defense, totally justified also. He went marksman mode. Yeah, he did. The bearded ham, he says, who is Renee going to vote for next election? This is Luke Smart. He says, Matt, as a Canadian, can I ask you to ask Trump to give Carney the Maduro treatment? You want him to be apprehended? I'll tell you something here. I don't know about all these other right-wing commentators out here. I feel like I'm the only one. I have no connections. You guys know this? I have zero professional connections. I don't have Trump's phone number or Stephen Miller's phone number. If somebody put a gun to my head and said, Matt, you got to call somebody inside the White House right now, I couldn't do it. I'm like on my island. It's me and it's you guys. I'm totally disengaged from anything. I don't know. And you know what? I kind of like it that way. Actually. I like being a solo operator out here. I kind of like it. I like being an outsider a little bit. Thank you very much. This is Jaded Cop says, watching people with no law enforcement experience Monday morning quarterback this clip is a whole new level of ignorance. And they are doing that step by step before all the information is out. And then every single time they're proven wrong, they have to pivot their narrative. It's like get caught in a lie, change the narrative. Caught in another lie, change the narrative. Caught in yet another lie, change the narrative. Time and time and time again. In fact, it is still happening. It is still happening. Second by second. This is Gremlin Anku says, and just this is why the trial will not be tried by them. Yeah, maybe so. Thank you. This is Gary's metal detecting again. He says body cam and camera statement by media was in his hand is just, oh, that's okay. We read that one. No, it was in his hand. We know it was. We have an angle. We know he was holding the camera. It was in his hand. It was, to be fair, it was not body cam footage from the officer. It was his own cell phone footage. He was holding a cell phone. We know he was. That is undeniable. This is Robert Brown. He says, my wife and I were Democrats for years, but how the Democrats have changed. We both switched to Republicans because they stand for the people of America. They want our country safe, secure, and to prosper. We have an intelligent former Democrat. And you know what, by the way, here, let's make a list of other former Democrats from a long gone era when the Democrat Party was a little bit more competent, was a little bit more American. Donald Trump himself was a former Democrat. RFK Jr. was a former Democrat. Tulsi Gabbard was a former Democrat. Elon Musk was a former Democrat. I don't really have any issue with anybody that was like, well, I was a Democrat at one point, but now I'm a Republican because my party became insane. Yeah, you are right. You broke out of you snapped out of it. Good for you. You snapped out of it. You were smart enough. You got a head on your shoulders. You said, yeah, the party I used to vote for in 1990 or 19 whatever, that party is gone. This party has been hijacked by violent far-left radicals that are clearly hell-bent on flooding the country with third-world illegal aliens and tearing apart the republic. Good for you. You snapped out of it. Good for you. This guy's got a head on his shoulders. Good for you. I've got no hate against anybody like that. Good for you. In fact, that's kind of what it means to be over here on the right. We are critical thinkers. We can reassess and say, okay, you know what? This is wrong. This is right. You know, that's how we do it. Thank you very much. We have another one here from Dread Legion. He says the Democrats are most definitely communicating in some way that people don't know about. It's like communicating with a private guild in an MMO. I mean, you know what? You can go on Facebook. Go on Facebook and type in Ice Watch. Type in on your Facebook search bar, Ice Watch Portland, Oregon, Ice Watch Seattle, Ice Watch Minneapolis. These groups are public. You can go see them right now. Go whatever town you live in, Ice Watch Columbus, Ohio. I'm positive you will find one of these groups. They're doing it on Facebook. They're doing it on Twitter, I'm sure. It's all over the place, everywhere. I don't use Blue Sky. I would assume that they are doing this on Blue Sky, which is like the far left alternative to X or Twitter. They're not exactly hiding it. They're not. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. This is Shannon Prater. She says, as a country, we need to focus on the fraud. This ICE issue will pass quickly. Really what needs to happen now, I think genuinely, I believe this. I think the Trump administration is pretty much doing everything they can do. You can make a couple critiques here and there, okay, but really they're taking a big effort, a big swing at this. What we need now, we need the Senate GOP to go nuclear. The Senate GOP, I don't even know, I can't understand the mindset. Our country has been flooded by tens of millions of violent third world illegal aliens. We have far left extremists marching through the streets, chanting, thousands of them 2 nights ago, calling for the public lynching of Kristi Noem. They're trying to kill us and murder us and assassinate us. They're being very public about it. We have a very serious problem here. And this is beyond all of the fraud and voter fraud and all. We have a plurality of problems. And still, the Senate Republicans are refusing to go nuclear and actually solve these problems. It is almost traitorous, in my opinion. Seriously. I've had it up to here with these guys. So I'm hoping, listen, midterms are coming up. Maybe some of these people need to be primaried. As far as I am concerned, if you are a Senate Republican who refuses to listen to President Trump and us, the American people, calling for them to go nuclear, because keep in mind, Trump's White House is saying go nuclear. We are saying go nuclear, and they are refusing to listen to the administration that we voted for and their own constituents. They've gone rogue. The Senate GOP, they've gone rogue. They've got pressure from every which way telling them go nuclear, and they're not doing it. These people need to be primaried. Every single Senate Republican that refuses to go nuclear, they need to be primaried. And that is a very serious conversation we need to have here going into midterm season. That's my opinion. Thank you very much, Shannon. I appreciate that. Brian says, LMFAO can confirm if she says she's not mad at you, she is pissed. And that, I think every married man knows that. It's just true, ladies. It's just true. Greg Adamite, he says, good morning. He says, if the ICE agent had a tire track around his forehead, the left would still blame him for being in the way. Yeah, they would. Good one. Yeah, good one. True. Thank you. Evelio Cunningham says, YouTube keeps interrupting the program when the narrative differs from the Democrat. I'm not sure. Are they running ads or something? I'm not sure about that. Thank you. Cameron says, demon rats and libtards should be held accountable for their insightful rhetoric. We have laws for this and need to be enforced. FAFO happens when they just can't follow the rules. Doing great. Here is what is insane is that these ICE officers, CBP, DHS officers, they're not doing anything unlawful. They are enforcing the laws that we all democratically pushed through our system. We believe it or not, Democrats, far leftists, we actually do have federal immigration laws, series of them that we have collectively passed as an American population, as the American people. And this is what is being enforced now for maybe the first time in a very long time, but this is all lawful. And they're having a total meltdown. Phoenix Ashes level up. He says, I'll be the one to say it. The left has to push this narrative so hard because the sad reality is they're mad that she wasn't black or Hispanic. Also, they're pushing it hard because of the fraud cover-up. I'm absolutely positive that they are shifting onto this story and how she is a victim and she was innocent in an attempt to pivot away from the fraud narrative. No doubt about that. I will also say, if this was a black or brown, whatever woman, rather than a white woman, I do think the protests or riots would be even crazier than they already are. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. Just seems to be the case. Thank you, Phoenix. This is Terry Vining says, it's called adrenal crisis. Maybe the case. Templar Order, he says, the next time JD speaks, I want him to openly call these people retarded, especially Tim Walz. Okay, real quick, yes or no, ladies and gentlemen, is Tim Walz retarded? We have heard from President Trump that he is. In fact, President Trump said that he is seriously retarded. And I would tend to agree. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Jimbo Ramba says Trump should declare January 7th as ICE Appreciation Day. Yeah, make it a national holiday. Paula Tobin says it's going to get worse before it gets better. Democrats clinging on. It's all they have left. It is true. They have lost every single lever of power in this country, the House, the Senate, the White House, all of it, the Supreme Court, generally speaking. All they can do is try to shut down the government and riot, really. That's all. Engage in lawfare, activate all of their activists in the federal judiciary, And this is exactly what they're doing. It's all they have. You're right. It's all they have left. Crystal Oliver says, she says, by the way, thank you. No matter what I'm watching, I swap as soon as you're live. Love your coverage and your thoughts on world events. God bless you and your family. That is the nicest super chat of the day. And the award for most pleasant super chat of the day goes to Crystal Oliver. Hey, thank you very much. I almost called you Crystal Ball. That almost slipped out of my mouth. She's that far left talk show host. Crystal Oliver, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was very nice. I appreciate that. That's very kind. Diane Caliantis, cool last name, says, thank you for keeping us informed with the truth. Hey, thank you for tuning in and coming back. As long as you guys keep coming back, we'll keep on doing the live shows. I appreciate that. Now, I want to make sure, I think I'm on top of most of these here. I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. We have a super chat here on Rumble from Ellen Edwin. She says, of course, they're trying to pivot away from the fraud narrative, but now they're trying to find something else because they lost the narrative for the shooting victim as well. I think so. Yeah. I think most Americans see this situation, this ICE altercation here for what it is. She was not the victim. Thank you very much. Renee Savage says, check the 600,000 she has been donated versus the donations. 600,000. I saw Renee Goods. She's got a Give, Send, Go page open right now. I saw yesterday afternoon. I haven't checked today. She had raised $1.5 million. $1.5 million has been donated to Renee Good. I mean, she's dead now. I suppose her kids or her lesbian wife will get a hold of this money. But these far left radicals, they're coming out in full force. They are making it rain, so to speak. They're throwing money at this. Some of them are, at least. Back on YouTube, I'm looking at super chats. Bruce Rice gifted 20 community memberships. That is big because, by the way, every time somebody receives a gifted community membership, they no longer have to watch ads. And YouTube is running ads. YouTube is running these ads. So thank you. That's a big one. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. And then we have Damon Gore. Thank you very much for the membership. I appreciate that. Mr. Morris, can Matt Morris come and play for a few hours tonight? Matt, did you get the illustrations I sent? I don't know anything about any illustrations. I don't know what that means, but I appreciate that. I appreciate your continued support. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But I'm not sure about any illustrations, so no, I hate to say I'm sorry, but no. I will be back. Okay, folks, we're going to wrap up here. I will be back tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Western. It might be sort of a regular news broadcast like we always do, or I'm not sure. It might be a Riot Watch elongated broadcast where we are here for 3 or 4 or 5 hours watching riots unfold if they are unfolding. So I'm not sure. We might do that. Either way, I will be here for something tonight at 8 Eastern, 5 Western. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Final super chat of the day from Ekurin. He says, mock these people, make them look like the stupid NPCs they are. Love your broadcasts, my friend. You know what? It's true. Listen, if you are a Democrat in the year 2026, you are a stupid NPC. It's true. It's undeniable. Thank you very much. That is going to be a wrap up for this broadcast, at least. We will be back later tonight. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you folks in a couple hours. God bless. Stay safe. And have a good afternoon. I'll see you folks tonight. Thank you all very much for tuning in.